What's going on, guys? It is me, Tyson the Trainer, back with another video. Well, yeah, I mean, if you're watching on YouTube, it is a video. But if you are listening, obviously, back with another podcast. And, it's funny. Like, I have just come back from a workout, feeling really good, really alert and awake. It's 8:50 in the morning. And it's just funny because I forget how good it is to work out first thing in the morning. And as you guys probably know, I don't know if I've told you guys on the podcast, but for those of you following me on Instagram, I got an assault bike recently. Man, my words are not coming out right this morning. I got an assault bike recently, and doing that, I don't do it every morning. I probably do it about 3 times a week. And now that I've worked out this morning, I just forget how good it is to start off your morning with some type of exercise. Like, I just feel so alert, so awake. Clearly my words aren't working 100%, but I just feel so much better when I smash out exercise first thing in the morning. And I would encourage you guys, even going for a walk, doing something to get your body moving. I feel like it just sets you up for the day. And I keep forgetting that. And every time I work out, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. It feels so good. And usually for me, like on the days where I have boxing and I don't do my cardio in the morning, boxing is usually like 10 o'clock. So it isn't bad. But even when I try and do like videos for Instagram, I'll try and do like work first thing in the morning. So I'll wake up, go for a walk, get a coffee, come home, and then start recording videos, start writing things down. Like, yeah, I can do it, but I just don't feel as fresh. Whereas now, like, I've worked out, I've come home, I'm feeling awake, I'm feeling alert. I'm just feeling so good at the moment. And I'm like, I fucking forget how good this is. And so I would encourage you guys, if you want to wake up, if you want to be alert for the day, probably wake up and try and do some early morning exercise. I highly recommend it, hey. So that's my little morning tip for you. Now, another little tip that I want to say, and just a piece of advice, I guess, is that not every workout session is going to be amazing, okay? And the reason I just say this is because like last week's podcast that I made was a quick one, obviously about the whole, moving away from emotion and like thinking logically and stuff like that. And after I recorded it, I actually recorded it twice. The first one I was like, I don't like this, I'm going to record it again. The second time I recorded it, I was like, should I put this out? Because I don't feel like it was my best podcast. However, in the past, I've been like, I'll put it out regardless. And people have actually been like, that was great. And then other times it's been a bit of a flop. But everything in life, including working out and things like that, it's never going to be 100%. But it's worth showing up versus not showing up at all. I would rather get a podcast out to you guys versus not getting a podcast out to you at the end of the day. Because like, it's just, even it's not my best work, it's still going to help probably one person. And that's the most important thing for me. That doesn't really relate to working out. But even if you go to the gym, okay, and it's not a great gym session, but you still show up, you're still consistent, you still do the workout, it may not be the best workout you've had. It may not even, might not even be a good workout at all. It may be the shittest workout you've had. But the fact that you've still shown up, you've kept that consistency going, you've done what you need to do, that is the most important thing. Because consistency is key, I could, just to give you guys an example of consistency, I put out 2 podcasts a week, right? I started with 1, now I'm at 2. 2 podcasts a week. This one has gone up to about 40 minutes, give or take, between 20 and 40 minutes, how it goes. The other one's about 10 minutes, right? But that's Monday and Thursday, every fucking week for the last maybe 30 to 32 weeks, I think. And at least 1 podcast a week for over 52 weeks now. With you listening to this, I think this is episode 117 or 119, right? So that's over a year of me recording podcasts, okay? Every single week, showing up, okay? And they may not be the best, like I said, but you show up. You build in the habit. my words this morning. You build in the habit. You build in the consistency. You do the things whether you feel like it or not, right? This comes back to the feeling side of things. Whether I fucking feel like doing a podcast or not, whether I feel like replying to clients or not, whether I feel like going to the gym or not, I show up and build consistency. And for those of you who watch my stories, every single day I post to you educational stories. Every single day. And you might be like, oh, well, it's not that hard to post up educational stuff every single day. You want to make a bet? Right? You want to make a bet that for you to post stories, a post, well, I'm actually posting twice a day now, so 2 posts, 1 educational story, right? Try and do that every single day and see how long you can consistently do it for. Because the amount of coaches that come to me, and this is why I have the Coaches Growth page. Oh, hey, Trice, how do you think about ideas to come up with? I'm like, there is millions of ideas. If you answered something 3 months ago, answer it again. You know how many people ask me about creatine again and again and again? I've got a fucking podcast on creatine. I've got a story highlight on creatine. I've got about 6 posts on creatine. Yet guess what someone's going to ask me in 2 weeks? Should I take creatine? And like, that's not to say like, they're new people. They may have not seen my stuff before, but we always have topics to talk about. All right. And so with that being said, I just show up regardless. And sometimes my topics are great, sometimes they're not, but I show the fuck up. And like, if you want to look at, like, not to suck myself off basically, but if you want to look at consistency, like, I'm pretty consistent with what I do on a daily basis. And I think you guys would agree that, if you look at what I do, Tyson's pretty consistent. He shows up, he does what he has to do on posting. You see him, I'm talking about me in third person. You see me put out my podcast, you see me put out my post, you see me posting up my training. Like, I'm not slacking off. I'm not fucking, even though I don't feel like it, even though I'm tired, like this last night, I had 6.5 hours of sleep, right? And for me, I'm stuck in about 6 hours sleep. Like, legit, I'm stuck in about 6 hours sleep because I'm tired. But I get up and do what I have to do. I get up at the time I need to get up, I do what I need to do. Because at the end of the day, no one's going to do it for me. I've got goals I want to achieve, and I just have to show the fuck up. And I want you guys to kind of think about that. Like, just show the fuck up no matter what, right? And that's actually, you know what? It's funny because this does tie into my topic today, which is about mindset and about building up confidence. And just, I guess, changing your thought patterns overall. Because I feel like people have a story in their head about myself and other people that they see on Instagram. And like, you've painted a picture of who you think I am based on what you see now and not where I've come from. All right. So if you knew me in high school, if any of you listen to this who knew me in high school, you know how I was in high school. I was a cheeky little shit. I smoked weed all the time. I would party every weekend, like would go to house parties and stuff like that, would drink. I was a little criminal. Like, I was the worst kid in high school, all right? I was a sook. I was shit at sport. I always complained. Mum always got me out of trouble, with school and stuff like that. I dropped out of school in grade 10 because I was a bad kid. And then I got a trade. And then I quit that trade because I hated the trade. Like, I wasn't consistent. I wasn't doing anything. Like, my life was just fucking nothing, And that's when there was this weird epiphany when I was 18. I'm like, I need to leave or I'm going to die here wasting my life, And it was like this flick of a switch where I turned 18 and I'm like, you know what? I don't even know why I chose Sydney. I was like, I'm moving here. When literally, I think it was like 3 days after I turned 18, I moved to Sydney, not knowing anyone here, not knowing how expensive the fucking rent was for a room. And I just like sorted myself out. I'm like, I'm quitting drinking, I'm quitting drugs, I'm quitting everything. I'm just going to go here and start fresh. And because I didn't know anyone, I didn't have that urge to go out and drink. And it was very hard because what's everyone doing when they're 18 and older? Drinking, partying, going to uni, socializing. I didn't go to uni. I didn't have friends here. So it was a good and a bad thing where I missed out on that socializing side of things, but I got to kind of just, I guess, get my life straight a little bit, And then I just worked on myself. And so I thought about the person I was and the person I want to be, who I wanted to be. And like, I still think about that now today. And it's not like I was just like, yeah, like I'm just changing everything at once. I'm a brand new person. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Like, you guys don't understand, from 18 to 26, actually, when you listen to this, this is going to be released in May. I'm 27 now, okay? So for 9 years of building myself up, I have become the person that I wanted to be, but it's not overnight, Like, doing these podcasts, talking confidently, doing videos, in the street, or just recording videos and looking very confident. I was never like that. Like, you guys may or may not know, my whole eating disorder, my low testosterone side of things. I was 67 kilos. I didn't look like a PT. I felt like I was an imposter. When I'd go to record a video in the gym, right? Oh man, it was like, firstly, when I started trying to record myself, I would do it at home right, in my room and record myself to the camera and just practice talking on the camera all the time, because I'd always fumble my words, and like I wasn't a confident person. I wasn't at all. And I just always would judge myself because of how I looked. You know, I moved to Sydney, started becoming a PT, was training, became a PT when I was 19. And, you know, like, because I then became a PT and then I looked at the other PTs in the gym who were like fitter than me, bigger than me, you know, and then that's kind of when Instagram, I think Instagram came out before 2014. I definitely think it came out like 2010 or something. But like I was on Instagram and following fitfluencers, you know, fitness people, and they're all jacked. They're all huge. And I felt like the biggest imposter. And I was like, I would second guess everything I posted. I would feel, you know, I would always feel like people were going to say something about what I, you know, how I would post things and judge me and stuff like that. But I just had to kind of bite that bullet and push through the uncomfortableness. And so I was practicing on video, and then I got better, and then I started posting it. So I never posted the videos. I just would record until I got better speaking and feeling more confident. And then I started putting it out publicly. And from like 19 until literally 24, when was 2019? I'm trying to think how old I am in 2019. 27. Yeah, 24. So 24 is like when Instagram for me really started picking up. So 5 years of talking on videos, all right? 5 years of posting things up and trying to give out educational information and all these things. Like I built up my confidence over time, all right? I didn't have any organization in my life until I moved to Sydney and figured like, fuck man, I'm an adult now. Like as much as I love my parents didn't teach me to really adult, right? My dad works at the mines. Dad didn't teach me to shave. Mum didn't teach me to iron or to wash clothes or any of those things. Like I had to learn a lot of this stuff just because I lived by myself and I fucking had to like figure this stuff out, you know? And as time went on, I'd become a better person and, you know, again, just grown myself to be the person I am today and to be who you see now. But it's fucking 8 years, right? 19 to 27, 8 years. And I'm not like, oh, I'm this person. I'm still like, I'm nowhere. I've still got so much more room to go because I'm very invested in, you know, building myself up just in all areas of my life and being better. But you guys have to understand that this is not an overnight thing where you're just going to have the confidence and feel good and all these things. Like it's going to take time. All right. And so what I want to talk to you guys about today, a very long intro, is about that mindset, all right? Is about building up that confidence, is about building up the habits and the person you want to be. Because the person you want to be is not going to be someone that's going to be in a year's time or 2 years' time. You need to think in the long term. You need to think 3, 5, 10 years down the road. And again, we don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know COVID was going to happen, even though I had 5-year goals. I didn't know COVID was going to happen, all right? I didn't know Ukraine and Russia were going to go to war and potentially, whenever this comes out, we don't even know what's happening. I didn't know that was going to happen. I didn't plan for that. But I had a plan in place for myself that I want to work towards the person I want to be regardless, okay? Because shit's going to happen in life. But if we're working towards a goal no matter what, at least we know we're moving in the right direction. Because you can't control exactly what 100% is going to happen, but you can have some type of goals to move you towards that. And so for me, starting from literally nothing at 18, being a sooky fucking kid, not being sports orientated, being skinny, feeling like an imposter, all I started doing was what I tell you guys to do, is to start on small things and work your way up. And this is where you put your ego in check. I don't give a shit who you think you are and how high you think you are on the totem pole in life or whatever it is. If you're not doing things that you want to do, then check your fucking ego at the door and take 5 steps back. All right? And start small. You may be a lawyer and you may be a top tier lawyer in your firm. All right? You may be fucking killing it. You might be you might be making millions of dollars in commission. I don't know who listens to this, whatever it is. You might be in sales and making commission. You might be someone who's really good at biotech or whatever it is. There are people who are so who are so smart in so many areas of their life. Yet when it comes to their health and fitness and stuff like that, because they're not the same they're not at that level, they have this ego because they're like, oh, but I'm so good here, but they're so low on this side of things, and they think they should be up here. And it's like, just because you think you should be at level 10 doesn't mean you should be at level 10. You're at level 1. Accept you're at level 1, check your ego at the door, and work your way up. It's like me with finance, right? Like, I am someone who would like to be, financially free. I'm not like, oh, well, I know how to, I'm a PT, I'm a successful trainer, I'm a successful online coach. Why don't I earn as much as these guys? Like, dude, it's two different side of things. These investors, their job, right? Or like, imagine me walking into your job and being like, well, I'm fit, I'm healthy, I kill it in the fitness industry. Why can't I be at the top of your field? Like, fucking, you'd be like, excuse me? Who are you? Fuck, like, please shut up and sit down and learn your lesson. It's the same thing when you go into a new job. You have no idea what you're doing. You start as a shit kicker and you move your way up. Okay? So accept that if you're someone who has it all together in other areas of your life, but you don't have it together with your health and fitness, that's okay. And just accept that that's a fact. All right? There's nothing wrong with being down the bottom or being low on the rung. It's actually a good thing because guess what? You get plenty of room to progress when you're on the bottom of the rung. All right? When you're moving up higher and higher, like I say, when people are advanced. For me, progress is now harder to achieve because I've been training for over 9 years, okay? Like, the more you train, the more you work out, the better you get with your nutrition, the more consistent you are, the more progress you make, the harder it gets. So for me, 1 to 2% differences is what I can see in a year, right? For you, someone who's new, you can see massive results in a few years, like literally life-changing results. And that's cool. That's awesome. You should be happy for that. The lower you are, the newer you are, the less you have been consistent, the better the result you're going to be, And that's why I say it's not good to be overweight and obese, obviously. Like, it has health risks. But that's why I say, hey, if you're someone who's really heavy, you can make small adjustments and go such a long way. Like, if we take obese people, all right? Obese people are clearly eating a lot of food, okay? Majority of obese people, this is just, this is opinion, this actually isn't fact. So I'm assuming that a majority of obese people, just because of what I've seen from, people who coach really heavy people, they drink copious amounts of full sugar soft drink, right? You drink 2 liters of full sugar soft drink a day, I can't even math that really quickly. That's a lot of calories, all right? You take away 2 liters of sugar-free Coke, you replace that with 2 liters of Coke Zero. Don't fucking start me about the poison of sweeteners in Coke Zero. Shut the fuck up, all right? You take away 2 liters of full sugar Coke and swap for Coke Zero, that person's gonna lose weight. Because the calories in that, I think, is at least 600 to 800 calories in a 2 liter Coke. Could be wrong, it may be less, but I know it's definitely 500 calories, I think a can of Coke has 40 grams of sugar, which is 160 calories, and that's 350 mils. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21. All right, yeah, because it's like 2.5 liters, or this is just 2 liters, right? So anyways, let's say 160, 320, 400. Yeah, so even that, right? I'm not even at the liter, 369. Yeah, even over a liter, it's 500 calories, all right? So you take away 2 liters of Coke and swap for Coke Zero, that person's losing weight. You take someone who's obese, who's drinking full sugar Coke, and get them to walk instead of sitting down all day, and even if they do like 5,000 steps and they swap their Coke, they're losing kilos a week, right? I would, honestly, with those 2 changes alone, they're seeing good results. Probably going to lower their reduce of all-cause mortality, going to reduce their chance of having diabetes if they don't have diabetes, literally fixing the issues by 2 changes, right? The fitter you are, the more experienced you are, the harder it is. Like, where do I go from here? What do I do to try and make adjustments to my diet? I'm now looking for the optimal. I'm now looking for the 1 to 2%, which is a lot harder than making those small adjustments. So if you're someone, again, if you're new, or again, you haven't been training consistently for 2 years, you have so many things you can adjust to make really cool choices. And even if you've just been training and not focusing on nutrition, you have so much room to work with. And that's why it's so good that you can start small, because the smaller you can start, the more momentum you can build. you know? I always say when a client joins on board, this is what I hate. Hey, I say to my client, hey, this is your goal. This is your calorie target. This is your protein target. Here are the daily habits you want to tick off. I don't expect you to tick off every single habit day one, week one. This is all working towards it. Pick 2 habits to work on. The amount of clients that are in that first week that try and do every single habit and they get upset, like literally they're a client from the first check-in. Oh, I didn't hit all my habits this week. I know it's just my first week, but I feel really disappointed. I'm like, you hit 4 things out of 6. I asked you to do 2. You are now feeling bad that you didn't get all 6, even though you beat the goal of 2. You know, if we're not 100%, we have that all or nothing mentality. If you're not 100%, you're 0%. And that's a dumb mentality to have. All right. And so starting small and working on one habit at a time until you nail that habit and then building on to the next one is going to lead to long-term progress, is going to lead to long-term results. Okay. And so this is something you need to start to comprehend, because making small adjustments over time is what's going to keep you on track and seeing progress. Because people are always like, oh, it's been 3 months and I'm not seeing the results I want. And I'm like, oh my God, you're 40 years old. You've been eating shit for 39 years of your life. All right. When you're a child, when you're 1 year old, your parents are feeding you well because you're probably being breastfed and obviously having baby food. Then they start, introducing fun foods and stuff like that because you're a kid. And then you go into adulthood, and then you're a uni student, so you're living off ramen. And then you go into your job, and your job's busy. So then you get lots of takeaway, and then maybe you stop playing sport like you were at university and school. So now you're more sedentary, and you've been eating like shit, and now it's 10 years later and you're 40 years old and you've decided that it's time to start taking care of your health and fitness, and you get a fitness coach, and then you're expecting after 3 months to totally transform your life. And it's like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. 3 months out of fucking 39 years, or even if you're 21, 3 months out of 20 years of your life, and you're expecting life-changing results. Give me a fucking break. All right? And this is why we say it's a journey. I don't like the word, here's your 10-week challenge, here's your 12-week challenge, but here's your epic transformation. It's a journey. A journey is a long time, I go back to this thing, watch the fucking Lord of the Rings. How many hours is the Lord of the Rings in total? How far, is it Bilbo Baggins? Am I correct with that? I should use Lord of the Rings, fuck. How far their journey is and how long that would technically take if you were to do that. It's a journey. All right. And so with that being a journey, you have to start playing the long-term game. Again, this comes to retraining your mindset, because your mindset right now is probably immediate results. You want to see things fast. You're expecting things to get progressed as, faster than they are. You have to slow down. Okay. You have to accept that progress is going to take time, and it is a journey. Like I put up my back progress the other day, right? Like flexing my back. And someone's like, you're so lucky, man. You're so lucky. I'm so fucking lucky that I'm training for 9 years consistently. We look back where I was 9 years ago compared to now. I'm so lucky. I'm so lucky that I show up and do consistent work. I'm so lucky that I eat food like I'm supposed to eat. I'm so lucky that I do things when I don't feel like doing them. I'm so fucking lucky, am I? That's a cop out. When you say someone's lucky, you're fucking copping yourself out, because luck definitely has something to do with certain things. 100%. There's no doubt about it. I was lucky that I found my low testosterone problem, and I'm lucky that after 2 years I got to see a doctor who could actually help me fix that. Because guess what? I know guys who have been trying to do it for more than 2 years and they're still having trouble with their testosterone. That is luck. All right. But guess what? Luck isn't showing up to the gym every single day after day, week after week, year after year. Luck is not eating the food you need to eat day after day, week after week, year after year. That's not luck. That's consistency. We all have bits of luck in our life, but guess what? Luck does not determine whether you're going to get results or not for the long term. Okay. People who are lucky and win the lottery, they don't stay rich. Look how many people lose their wealth when they win the lottery. Heaps of people do, because they fucking spend it, man. You are so lucky to win the lottery, yet you lose it, all right? You could be blessed with the best genetics in the world. You could be someone listening right now, and your parents have underlying genetics that could make you one of the best looking people physically wise if you train consistently. You're lucky that you've got that gene, but guess what? If you don't put in the work and you don't do what you need to do, then luck has nothing to do with how you're going to look. Because even though you've got that gene and it's luck for you that you've won the genetic lottery in that pool, if you're not doing the workouts, you're not going to look the best you could have ever looked. You know? And so luck has a part, but there's so much more to luck. There's so much more to progress. And again, it comes down to consistency and work. And so if you're someone who's not training 5 days a week or 4 days a week or 3 days a week or 2 days a week or 1 day a week, and you're very hit and miss, you might train once a fortnight, once every 3 weeks, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to train 5 days a week. Like, no. You start with once or twice a week. And you're like, but I can do more. Yeah, you can do more. Can you? Are you sure? Because you're saying you can do more, but you're going once every 3 weeks. That's a big difference from what your mouth's saying versus what you're actually doing. Right? You can prove it to me. You can do 5 times a week for the next 3 weeks. Yeah, sweet. Then what? Then you fall off track. All right? So going from 0 working out to 1 or twice is 100 to 200% increase from 0. Okay? If you went 0 to 5 times a week, let's say you went 0 to 5 times a week, so it's 500% increase. You do that for 2 weeks. Then something comes up at work and then you get 4 days a week. And you feel bad that you only got 4 out of 5 days. Even though you've gone from 0 to 5 days, now you're going to 4 days and you feel bad. And I know people struggle with that. Or if you get 3 days a week instead of 5 days a week and you feel bad because work's hectic. And it's like, okay, you've gone from 0 to 500%, back down to 3. So 3 is still better than 0, but you're beating yourself up because you didn't go 5 times. And then what happens? You feel bad. Oh, it's too hard. Life's too hectic. Work's getting in the way. You go back to 0 times a week. So instead, you keep showing up twice a week for the next 4 weeks until it's consistent, because you know 2 out of 7 days, even if it was just 2 days on the weekend, every Saturday, Sunday you train, you don't train during the week, you keep that momentum going. Then you're like, you know what? I'm going to add in a 3rd session. And that's how you build it up. Honestly, that's how you build it up. And you find something you can consistently do and stick to. Like the best workout, I could write you no, I couldn't, that's the lie. We could get someone who's very, very good at their anatomy, really, really good at biomechanics, write you the perfect workout program. It's 5 days a week. It goes for an hour and a half. You get everything you need to do. You're going to have an amazing body if you do it an hour and a half, 5 days a week. Okay? You've got that program written for you. But you can't go 5 days a week. And you definitely can't train an hour and a half. Then the best workout program that's been written for you is never going to be the best workout program written for you because you can't adhere to it. Yet the same person's like, all right, but you can go 3 times a week for 30 minutes a week. Is that right? Yes, that's the best workout program for you. Whatever you can consistently do and adhere to for long periods of time is what you need to do, all right? Don't look at me. Do not compare yourself to other Fitfluencers. You don't have to train 7 days a week or 5 days a week. You have to train as many times as you realistically can, because guess what? I keep telling you this. You are not me or another Fitfluencer. You're like, oh, Tyson, he trains 7 days a week. He does 4 days of weights. He does 3 days of boxing. I want to do that. Okay, my job is online. I'm an online coach. My job industry is in fitness. I basically have to keep fit for the most part, to a degree. But it's also like I work my hours around myself. I get to decide when I work and when I don't. I get to decide when I want to go to the gym. I bought myself a fucking home assault bike. I've got myself a home treadmill. I've made things work for me because this is my life. I also don't have kids. I'm not working a job where it requires me to commute an hour every day. I roll out of bed, I can get on the assault bike. I can roll out of bed, I can get on my laptop. I can work from my phone. I have that flexibility. You may not. You might have kids, you might have a spouse, you might have a sick parent who you've got to look after. My life is not your life. Your life is not anyone else's life, all right? So you have to realistically set yourself goals and expectations based on who you are and what your life is, and not from anyone else. All right. And again, that comes back to being humble, taking a step back, breathing, and deciding what's going to work for you realistically, and starting with those small goals. Right. And it's going to be a hard pill to swallow because you want results. You want to look like someone. You want this. Yeah. Okay. But guess what? Breathe and take a step back. Again, there's always going to be someone who would rather you and your situation versus other people. Like the amount of clients that come to me, especially female clients who are relatively lean and they hate their body, and I remind them, do you know how many people would want to look like you? And like, yeah, but I don't feel, and it's funny because like, obviously, you know, we all have our own problems, but the amount of people that want to look like some of my clients, because they look fantastic with how they are now, and they don't feel good about their body, like everyone would rather have someone else's life. But guess what? You can't, okay? And so we all have our own problems too. Like if everyone put all their problems in a pile on a table, we all put out our problems, okay? I'm gonna want to take my problems over anyone else's problems because a large majority of people are probably gonna always have it harder than me, and someone's always gonna have it harder than you. And there are gonna be people who have it easier than you, 100%. But it's like, again, our problems are our problems. Our life is our life. You don't compare yourself to anyone else. And like I say, comparison is a thief of joy. And I'm really just trying to help you guys understand here is that like, it's you. It's you versus you. It's never you versus anyone else. And so when we do this and we think about how can you become a better person for yourself? How can you change that mindset? How can you start being consistent? It starts with you and what you can realistically do on a daily basis, right? So pick something when it comes to training. It may not even be training. It may be steps. You might just start with steps and build up from steps. It might be going from 3,000 a day to 5,000 a day. And I always ask myself, I always ask my clients, when my clients say, like sometimes clients fall off track, you know, it is what it is. We fall off track, life happens. And when they come back like a week or two after having a bit of a rough one, they're like, all right, I'm ready to get back into it. I'm like, okay, what are 2 things you want to work on this week? What's 1 fitness thing and what's 1 nutrition thing you want to work on? And when they set some goals, I'm like, no. Because they're like, oh, I want to get it ticking all my daily habits again. I want to track all my food. I want to get my protein in. And I'm like, you just fallen off track for 2 weeks, man. 1 thing, and it has to be an 8 or above out of 10, okay? A 10 out of 10 means there is no way it can fail. A 9 out of 10 means there's a 90% chance that it's going to be successful. An 8 out of 10 means there's going to be 80% chance it's going to be successful. Anything lower than an 8 is not worth focusing on, because guess what? You're going to disappoint yourself, okay? Imagine gambling. You have 100%, you have a 10 out of 10 chance of winning the gambling. That's not gambling, because it's 10 out of 10. You would take that bet 10 out of 10 times. You would keep putting money down because you know you're going to get it back. All right? 9 out of 10. I like those odds. Those are pretty good odds. You know, 1 in 10 chance of losing. Yeah, sweet. Put me down for that. An 8 in 10. All right. It's an 80% chance, but that 20% chance does come up, you know? 1 every 5 times, that time you're going to lose, all right? Go down to 70%. Now it's starting to turn more into gambling, all right? Like, it's getting closer to that 50% mark. And 50% is like it swings each direction based on like, there's a lot more variables to be involved. And so when you ask yourself, what can I do this week? It should be an 8 or above out of 10. Ideally a 10 out of 10. And that's when I say to people, I'm like, okay, let's just focus on getting protein in, your total protein in for the day. And the client's like, yeah, okay, I'll do that. Sweet. I'm like, is that a 10 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, or a 9 out of 10? Usually it's about a 9 out of 10. All right, sweet, cool. If it's below an 8 out of 10, I tell them to choose a different goal. Because we want wins. We want little wins under our belt to build up motivation. Imagine me saying, I want 100 online clients. I'm going from 0. I want 100 online clients by 2 months from now. I'm setting myself up from failure. If I had 0, I'm not even an online coach. I'm like, I want 100 online clients. No fucking chance am I getting 100 online clients in 2 months. You know? I don't know anyone who's gone from 0 to 100 in 2 months. Even the top of the world coaches, right? And so that's what I'm saying. Pick, and everyone's like, oh, you know, shoot for the stars. What is it? Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you're only going to reach the stars. Or set big, hairy, achievable goals, or whatever that shit is. Yeah, cool. All right, cool. Set those big, hairy, achievable goals if you want to. But guess what? A lot of people set those goals and don't even fucking come close. And they disappoint themselves. And they're like, yeah, but I'd rather set that and get close. All right, cool. Set 5 times a week of your gym workout. But then when you get 3 times a week, you're not going to feel good that you went 3 times a week. You're going to feel like shit because you missed out on the 5 times a week. So instead, we build up those confidence through little wins. And the more you have wins, the more your confidence builds, the more you're going to push yourself. Then you can push for bigger goals. But you have to earn the right to push yourself. Because right now, you don't even have the discipline to do what you say you want to do. All right? And so it's like, let's just humble ourselves for a second. Let's take a step back. Let's just rethink what we're focusing on and start a little bit easier in life. Because again, this isn't a race. Everyone's on their own journey. And if you build up, like I can set bigger goals now because I've built up myself. And the same as you. Once you start hitting protein, or like let's say total calories, once you start hitting your total overall calories for 2 weeks, now you start to focus on protein, because now you have the habits of knowing what you should eat on a daily basis to hit your calories. Now you start focusing on your protein. Okay, now you've nailed your protein. Now you can look at distributing your protein over 4 meals. All right, now you've got your protein over 4 meals. Now you can work on, pre-workout timing. Obviously, I'd want you to go through your daily habits first, but I'm trying to give you guys an example. When you accomplish something, you then move on to the next one, because your skill base builds up over time. We can just keep going back to the job analogy so you guys get an idea here, all right? Let's say you are someone who, let's say you're someone who is an engineer, all right? You're an engineer, you're going through uni and you get, not placement, what's it called? You're an intern, all right? I'm pretty sure, engineer, any job that you're an intern with, okay? What do you do when you're an intern? You start off as a shit kicker, because you're learning how to put theory into practice. You're learning under people who have built up the skill set to be the top, a higher person in your skill field, right? You're not going to start a job as an engineer and they're like, all right, you're going to be working on the Sydney Bridge. We're going to be designing a new Sydney Bridge. You're going to be head honcho of this. You're going to be like, what? I'm the head honcho of this, and you just come fresh out of uni. No. You may be that person, I don't know, after 10 years, maybe less, maybe more, I don't know, obviously about engineering. But it's not an instant gratification thing, is what I'm trying to say, okay? You work your skill set up. The better your skill set is, the better you think about things, the more you understand all that type of stuff, you are then higher ranked. You are then promoted, okay? You think bigger picture. You start to understand concepts that people who are in uni do not understand, because you're learning real world application while also combining the theory you learned in university, right? I didn't go to university, so I'm just like, I'm assuming this is what it's like. But it's like the same thing as someone who comes out of university as a dietitian. Dietitians are they learn a lot about the theory side of things, but when you come out as a fresh dietitian, the reason there are some PTs or even nutritionists, who are really good already with clients, is because they know how to put the knowledge and the theory into application. They've been working with not dietitian. Let's say, a dietitian would work if you're a nutritionist, but let's say, a PT who's doing sports science or sports and exercise science. Someone who does PT along the way when they're doing sports and exercise science, learning how to put theory into practice, versus someone who's just doing the theory. When they come out and they just try to apply the theory, they don't know how to do it straight away. They haven't learned real world application, and that actually makes it hard for when people first go into the workforce to understand how to deal with people properly. How to talk to people and how to have actual conversations, how to apply theory to the person, because the person's no longer a case study. The person is no longer just a statistic. The person is a person. And even though you've seen all the theory here, you're like, the perfect squat looks like this, but this person's squatting like this. All right. And obviously, we know with biomechanics and stuff like that, everyone's levers and things are different, but sometimes you don't put that together straight away. All right. And so what I'm trying to say here is, as you get more skilled, as you become to grasp concepts better on your own health and fitness journey, the more you can start to put more things into work for yourself. Okay. When you start to understand calories and tracking food, when you start to understand what foods contain high amounts of calories and low amounts of calories, so you're educated about veggies being lower calorie, higher volume versus nuts being lower volume, higher calories, let's say, or a chocolate bar, let's say a chocolate bar versus veggies. You think maybe at first it's healthy versus unhealthy, but then you realize that it's not unhealthy, it's just that it's more calorie dense chocolate bar, okay? So then when you start to learn that knowledge side of things, then when you go out to eat, and when you go out to eat that if you're going to get a piece of steak, you're pretty much going to be getting protein with that meal, all right? You're not sitting there looking at a plate of food and being like, I don't know what I'm eating here. I can't guesstimate calories. I don't know what's going on. But if you practice with the tracking side of things, you'd be able to do that, the better you get at it. And so building this skill set and building up the confidence by building up little habits at a time is going to put you in a better place mindset wise. It's going to help you get success long term wise. And again, you have to have that long term expectation. All right. So what I'm trying to get to you guys here is that it's okay that it's going to take longer than you think. You need to have slower expectations, and you need to change your mindset to being patient and being okay with starting on the low side of things. And again, starting with one workout if it's 0 workouts, starting with just eating veggies once a day if you're not eating any veggies at all, and not going from 0 to 100. Because guess what? If you aim to be, let's say every 3 weeks, let's say once a month, all right? Once a month, you work on one new habit, okay? Once a month. That's 12 new habits in a year, okay? In 2 years, that's 24 new habits. If you change 24 habits of your life, think about how different that would be, all right? So let's just put this into play. The first habit that you're working on is you're just gonna eat 1 serving of veggies every day for the whole, every single day, 1 serving of veggies for the whole month, okay? The next habit you're gonna do is you're gonna start tracking your calories for the whole month while still keeping the veggies, all right? The third habit you're gonna do is now you're gonna work on a total protein intake. So over 3 months, you've now gone from basically doing nothing to having 1 serving of veggies a day, to having plenty of protein a day, and to knowing your overall calorie intake in 3 months, all right? You look at that in the rest of the year, if we were still to build up on habits, you would have lost a good chunk of weight if your goal is weight loss. You would be quite educated with nutrition because each month you're working on a habit, and it's only been a year and you put in 12 new habits. You've changed literally your lifestyle, because you would have over a year if you did 1 habit a month. You've changed your lifestyle nutritionally wise to make better decisions, okay? And that's only a year. Right? And I think a lot of you also forget, like for me, my eating disorder. I had an eating disorder for 5 years. From 23 to 24, my whole goal for that year was to fix my eating problem. All right? The whole year was to fix my relationship with food. And I did that in a year. All right? My 24 to 25 habit, sorry, that's incorrect. 23 to 24 was fixing my eating disorder. 24 to 25 was getting a better grasp of my nutrition overall and making healthier choices. So that's when I started learning about daily habits, because I was also studying nutrition, all right? Then from 23, 24, 24, 25, 25, 26 is when I started to optimize things, when I started to break up my protein. This is only last year, working on my diet, which means breaking up my protein intake, working on optimizing, being consistent was all last year. And also I added in cardio consistently last year. This year, I've got all those foundations now. So it's been 4 years, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, it's been 4 years fixing the eating problem, getting better with my healthy habits and my nutrition, optimizing my nutrition. Now for me, I'm just riding that wave of nutrition. And for me now, it's focusing on boxing. All right? Because the workout side of things for me wasn't an issue. I could always work out, but with my nutrition, that was the biggest issue. And so even though it's been literally 4 years, all right, 4 years, you're only seeing where I am right now, okay? And I didn't have this expectation that it's gonna happen in a day or a week or a fucking month. I said, this is what I wanna be working on going forwards. And I picked one thing to really, really focus on, you know? And guess what? It's only been 4 years and I'm only 25. I'm only 25, I wish. I'm only 27 now when you're listening to this, all right? I've got, let's say I live to 80. 53 more years of my life of good nutrition habits now. 53 more years. Let's say you're 45. Let's say you're 50. You're 50 years old listening to this. I don't know if there's actually a 50-year-old listening to my podcast. You're 50 years old, right? You take the next 3 years to work on your nutrition to get in a really good place and to fix your habits you've been working on your whole, you've been having issues your whole life. You're now 53 years old. You now have 27 years of your life left, potentially more because you now have fixed your nutrition. You might have, let's say 30 years. You have 30 years left of your life, so you're gonna live to 83 of good nutrition habits, of now preventing osteoarthritis and osteoporosis, of now being able to eat a little bit better and not be scared of food because you grew up in a young, without the internet, you grew up without the information, but now you've been put it into place. And you're only 53, and you literally have 30 years left of good habits, all right? A lot of us underestimate what we can do in the long term and overestimate what we can do in the short term. So you need to change that mindset and expect the long-term gain, be okay that it's going to take the long term, and also just, understanding that with those habits that are going to be built in for life, this is not a fucking race. This is not a fucking challenge. This is not a 12-week thing. This is your health and fitness journey for life. Health and fitness should add to your life. It should not consume your life. It should always be a part of your life, which doesn't mean you have to do something 7 days a week, which doesn't mean you have to be obsessed every day. But guess what? If you go to the gym 3 times a week and you have healthy habits in your food, that adds to your life. It never takes it away from you. It never drains from your life. It never makes you feel like you don't have time to do normal life stuff. It's a part of your life. All right? Boom, mic drop. That is the podcast for today. I feel like this is actually a very good podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, please share it, because I think a lot of people will get value from this, especially changing their mindset. And until next time, my friends, I'll speak to you then.